Hello, and thanks for joining us for Paranormal United States, episode 2.
This week we are going to Alaska for Weird Alaska.
Yes, so Alaska, as you can see in the little image to my right hand shoulder, we're going to be talking about the Alaska Triangle. So, Alaska Triangle is essentially the Alaskan Bermuda Triangle. It's a place of untouched wilderness where mystery lingers and people go missing at a very high rate. So, the Alaska Triangle, as you can see, connects the state's largest city of Anchorage in the south to Juneau in the southeast panhandle, and then across to Barrow, a small town on the state's north coast. Here is some of North America's most unforgiving wilderness. So, Alaska is, from my
Snow.
knowledge, is snow, snow and ice, and that's essentially it.
Yeah.
I don't know a great deal about Alaska apart from that.
Yeah, seeing
Um,
that World's Dangerous Roads
yeah,
show was in Alaska quite a bit, and
yeah,
some of that's in like the main areas like Anchorage and places. I suppose then when you go a bit more rural Alaska, it's just going to be crazy.
yeah, yeah. And as you're just about to hear, it is pretty wild in this triangle area.
So how big's
Uh,
that triangle?
it's 32,000 square miles roughly. So I don't know what the UK is, but
Like,
that sounds about like the UK.
so how big's that as compared to like the Bermuda Triangle?
So Bermuda Triangle is approximately 500 to a million square miles. So
Oh, that's
it's
big.
about over 10, 15 times as big. So um
I suppose
so
that's
it's
mostly water anyway, isn't it? Whereas I
yeah,
suppose this is
uh,
more land.
yeah, correct. And this is there is a definite sort of border, whereas the Bermuda Triangle doesn't really have a set space. So
Yeah.
this is clearly defined by those 3 points. Um, with that 32,000 square miles, they've during October 1972, a small plane carrying a US House Majority Leader, Hale Boggs, an Alaskan congressman, an aide, and their bush pilot seemingly vanished into thin air whilst flying from Anchorage to Juneau. And for more than a month, 50 civilian planes and 40 military aircraft, plus dozens of boats, covered a search area of 32,000 square miles, but no trace of the plane, the men, the wreckage, or any debris was found. Afterwards, more planes went down, hikers went missing, Alaskan residents and tourists seemed to vanish into thin air. In fact, since 1988, more than 16,000 people have disappeared in the Alaska Triangle.
That's a lot.
Yeah, with a missing person rate at more than twice the national average. So that's pretty mad. But I do think,
Yeah.
like we've just said, because it's quite a unforgiving place. There's a lot of uninhabited areas. It's quite a harsh environment.
Yeah, just dangerous, isn't it, to go?
It is just dangerous, yeah. And if you're not, especially tourists, if you're not used to sort of going into snow, um, those kind of things, and the variations of temperature, I suppose, would be quite horrific.
I suppose like
Um,
snowstorms and that type of
Snowstorms,
stuff as well.
yeah, yeah. And if you've ever been out in the snow, you can go somewhere in a field, and you can, if there's a bit of fog, you can easily lose your bearings of where you are and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. If you
yeah.
lose sight of places, everything looks the same, I suppose. So I can understand why there are more people missing, but twice the average in that particular area seems quite mad.
Yeah,
So
that's
in
a
any
lot.
it is in any given year between 500 and 2,000 people go missing in Alaska, and their people are never to be seen again.
It's not that populated either. It's thinking about that many people and
Yeah,
to have quite a lot go missing.
yeah. Authorities conduct hundreds of search missions, most often returning without finding a missing person or any evidence at all. So that's pretty mad. So there are some theories about it though. So obviously the snow and the harsh conditions, like we just said, is one of them. But they're also some of the disappearances are blamed on aliens, swirling energy
Got my
vortexes.
attention.
Got your attention there, to evil shape shifting demons. So covers pretty much what our episode normal episodes cover.
Yeah.
But the most likely explanation of these missing people is the wilderness, like we said. Um, More than half of the America's federally designated wilderness lies in Alaska, so you can see why people go missing. It's got 33,000 miles of coastline, 3 million lakes, loads of wildlife, and winters that
Wow.
blanket vast reaches of state. Like we said, with snow and ice, which is that's just my sort of, if I close my eyes and thought Alaska, that's what I would expect to see is just snow.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
penguins.
I was going to say polar bears, but I don't know if polar bears go quite that, wherever, sort of Alaskan. It's
I think,
Arctic, I think, isn't it? Polar bears, I don't
yeah,
know.
I think there'd be penguins.
Yeah, it probably is actually. I'll have to watch like the wild fishing ones, like wicked tuna and stuff. I think they go around Alaska, and after I'll have a look into
Don't,
that.
they do whale hunting around there, don't they?
Whale hunting, yes, they do. Yes, they do. So,
Bastards.
so as we mentioned, we talked about aliens and demons, but one of the other bits is vortexes. So, bit like ley lines, people believe that there are like energy vortexes or spiral whirlwinds of energy,
Okay.
and they blame or blame the disappearances on these vortexes. And they seem to think that a positive vortex spirals upwards in a clockwise motion, creating an enhanced flow of energy. So, all positive stuff. It's supposed to be conducive of healing, meditation, creativity, self exploration. People actively search out these places to feel inspired, recharged, and uplifted. So, a bit like the ley lines in the UK and around the world. So, people see those as positive things. And I know some of the new age people, they actively search out ley lines, and Stonehenge is a popular place with
Yeah,
ley
it's like
lines.
they
Yeah,
say draw on the energy.
yeah, druids and wiccas and people like that. But where there are positive vortexes, they're said to exist. Um, Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, like we just said, the Sedona Desert, and sacred temples throughout the world have all got these positive vortexes, apparently. But alternatively, negative vortexes appear as well. So they spiral downwards, anti clockwise, creating a draining and depleting energy and depleting the positive energies in its vicinity. So if a human is to be caught up in one of those, they're believed to cause health problems, which are depression, nightmares, disorientation, confusion, and both visual and audio hallucinations. So you can kind of see
Right.
if somebody walks into or comes across a negative vortex, all of those could be conducive of the fact that that person might just lose completely where they are and randomly wander off and either get eaten by a
Yeah,
penguin
that's
or polar bear.
yeah,
And
that's I was imagining when you say like vortex, like
yeah,
I was picturing in my head, like a like say like a twister or a whirlwind where
mm-hmm.
like the person actually gets sucked up physically and like spun
Yeah.
around and maybe
So
deposited somewhere else from where they were.
yeah, yeah. But no, it's more like a they do get sucked up, but it's their energy. So they walk
So it's
through and they
just like more of a I don't say spiritual, but
yes,
mental thing rather than a physical thing.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Right.
So they're also said to cause electrical instrument failure as well, or malfunction. So again, planes going missing, those kind of things. As with the Bermuda Triangle, things go wrong. They don't know where they are. They crash, or
Yeah, I
they
feel
get
like that,
low
like
fuel.
it's like the electromagnetic field
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff all gets messed up and causes
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
to go. Yeah, so yeah, I can see why that would.
yeah.
I suppose like I say it's
So
that big, it's plane crashing into a bit of snow and gets covered
yeah,
up.
That's it, and it's all white. So
Yeah.
if you lose your bearings, you don't know where you are. I suppose you could just hit a mountain and not even know about it. And then it snows, and then your body's covered, all that kind of stuff. So there are some places that are said to be filled with negative electronic readings in Alaska, and they found large concentrations of magnetic anomalies, some of which have disrupted compasses to the point that they're as much as 30 degrees off. So that's quite a big thing if you're being guided by um, your compass, and that's all you've got to go on. That could really screw you up.
I suppose when you're that close to the North Pole as well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it should
exactly.
be accurate.
Should be accurate, yeah. But it's unclear whether vortexes really exist. A bit like ley lines, like we've mentioned before. Ley lines are these invisible energy lines. There's no real proof that they exist, but people who are spiritual and um, things seem to be weird around ley lines, and people get
Yeah.
vibes off of it. So, um, same with vortexes. It's difficult to prove, but difficult to disprove. Um, so, despite warnings from authorities regarding weather, wildlife conditions, hundreds of tourists visit Alaska to see the unspoiled land. Obviously, many of them are unprepared for natural elements. I imagine the typical English tourist would rock up, shorts, t-shirt, flip
Sandals.
flops, and a backpack. Happens in this country though. The weather gets really bad, like Snowdon and places like that, Mount Snowdon, and people are completely unprepared for it.
Yeah.
And I think because the weather can change so quickly as well, that doesn't help. However, that doesn't explain why there are more disappearances in the Triangle than anywhere else in the state and also in the US. So, whether the mysterious disappearances of the Alaska Triangle are a result of natural perils, strange energy vortexes, ancient evil spirits, or aliens, it's definitely a cause for concern. Um, Other vortexes which are supposed to appear are at the Bermuda Triangle, Japan's Devil Sea, and on Easter Island, weirdly enough. So, um,
Mm.
yeah. So that's how weird Alaska has been.
Very weird. It reminds me a little bit of. I was thinking then like portals. We talk about portals quite a bit.
We do,
It's the first time I've sort of heard about vortexes. I suppose there's some similarities. Like
definitely.
like there could be something. Then there could be portals in the Alaska Triangle
Hmm.
that's
Hmm. Yeah,
causing weird shit to go on.
definitely some weird shit, and I don't think I really want to go there anymore. I'm more of a tropical person anyway. I prefer a beach.
Oh no, definitely not.
But yeah, that concludes our episode of Weird Alaska. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Join us next week for Weird Arizona.